either that's an additional layer, or somehow he's doing both of those. I wouldn't be surprised. It's like he's got 4 hands. Welcome back, and thank you for joining me for another reaction video. If you are new here, please don't forget to subscribe and turn on those notifications. That helps me out a ton. We are back with Animals as leaders, and these guys are wizards. I was stunned and blown away by my first listen to them. It was a song called Kafir. If you missed that reaction, the link will be in the description below. After this video, give it a click. It'll take you straight there. Yeah, and we're back with a song that was a huge request from all of you guys on my first reaction. It's called Physical Education. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little nervous, because I know how technical and intense their music is, but very excited nonetheless. Animals as leaders, Physical Education. Let's see what you got. Okay, hang on a second. They don't waste any time, do they? One thing I do know now is they don't have a traditional bassist. They just get those bass tones out of a lot of the guitar work that the two guitarists are doing. And I think they've both got 8 strings, so that kind of makes sense. They've got more depth to it. That piece is really intricate, but it sounds like one of the guitars is doing your kind of like slapping percussive playing with some picking as well. So it'll be good to know if we get to see a visual of that later, if we get to see them play, because it'll help clarify a few things. And one of the other guitars is doing what sounds like a kind of grunty, drivey sound at the back to back it up. It's all syncopated, fits really nicely with the drums, and that's quite difficult to do when it's so busy. But what I always find is if you allow your ears and mind to focus on one part of a piece like that, so whether it's the slap, whether it's the high picking, or whether it's the other guitar that's doing that kind of back and forth progression, it's much easier to dissect everything else. When you try and hear it all full on, which is what happens to all of us the minute it starts, it's a bit overwhelming, but I do know it's very pleasant to listen to. Again, wizards. So interesting. Super catchy lead work there. Awesome. Loved that. I'm kind of like, I shouldn't be shocked because I know how good they are, but I am. It definitely sounded in the beginning like there were almost 3 layers of guitars there, because I can hear the picking and slapping part, and then I can hear another emphasis of the lower string, the thicker string, if you will, which sounds like it's going back and forth. And that sounded like 2 separate things. And now there's lead work coming in, but there's only 2 of them. So either that's an additional layer, or somehow he's doing both of those. I wouldn't be surprised. It's like he's got 4 hands. Okay, this piece here that you're hearing, that dun, 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 that's the piece I was talking about. It's a slight variation of it, but that's the piece I was referring to a bit earlier as the back driver to the slapping, which is what I thought was the second guitar to start with. It may not be, but super interesting. And I love how they introduce certain things in a way that seems like there's no more room for anything else to join, and then another melody comes in, and it's so well thought out, like that high lead work that was happening. You couldn't imagine something else sitting on top of that, yet when they put it in, you can't imagine it never being there. And that is the beauty of great songwriting. This is awesome. That's not very nice. Okay. There's something else happening here in the back. I'm loving what the drummer's doing, because when you write this kind of guitar riff, it's very easy to either underplay or overplay the beat. Not for a second saying that they ever would, because they clearly know what they're doing, but it's very easy for a lesser experienced drummer, let's say, to maybe sit back in the pocket a bit and not try and provide any flavor, because it's not the hero of that part, and it's very easy for them to try and overplay with too many fills, and then you start to lose some of the actual audio listening ability of the guitar. So very cool. But when he changed into there, it sounded like there was possibly, I don't know if there's a backing track or something, but there was a nice kind of swish there, and he's definitely changed up his cymbal work. It's very cool, very interesting. A lot of stuff going on. Is that, when I said backing track, I can hear definitely what sounds like a strings or synth piece, but at the end it sounded like really fast trimming, really fast, that it all blends. It's difficult to pick up because it's not meant to be a primary sound, but it's interesting to know how many layers and levels there are to this. Listen to the fuzz on that. Wow. I speak a lot about, with bands like Animals as Leaders, bands like Polyphia, there's a particular tone that you need to nail down to be able to get the clarity in all those notes, because they're not actually hitting a lot of that any harder than they need to. It's actually quite a delicate process, and there's a lot of control. There's a lot of the perfect amounts of pressure and efforts being applied. And when that tone is correct, like it is now, it will show any mistake. And one thing I know is, even if you are finger picking and you aren't using a pick, clean picking is difficult, because because the distortion allows for a wider gap of tone to be shown through. It's easier to hide things, but when it's clean like that and the tone is so bright and so perfect, if you messed up, you'd hear it a mile away. And I know it's easy to sit and go, well, this is a recording, they probably could have done it, 100 takes. I doubt it takes them that long, but there's no way they're going to do something on a video they can't do live. So, wow. These two pieces should not fit together. These two guitar pieces. It's not that they shouldn't, I've always liked to experiment with guitar riffs and try different things, but this is very out there and it's very cool, because once again, as it came in, I went, oh, that's a bit different. And now I'm going, yeah, I love it. These guys. That's a perfect example of a drummer doing exactly what he needs to do to show his technical ability, the potential to sit in a really, really smart groove and back them up. Just listen to what he did there. I think he switched from his hi-hat down to like a ride. But the transition between that was just really smooth, and in essence didn't change the core of the beat or the groove, but just added a bit of flurry and then a small bit of change and dynamic in terms of the high end, what you hear in the frequencies and cymbals. Yeah. Okay, nice, cool, very nice. I spoke about a backing track or something in the background. This is happening again, and you can hear it with it going dun-dun-dun-dun, but it's very far back. It's quite high pitched. So what I like to do is I think it's like the way I listen is about body position. So sometimes you'll see me sit up or move. It just helps me latch onto certain things. And I felt myself starting to like try and sit up a little. It's quite high pitched, and it sounds like a synth piece. Almost somewhat of a very modulated organ, if you will, but it is there in the background, and it's nice. It's just it's a bit, it fits the guitar work really nicely because it's following the same melodic process, but the sound is quite like awkward. It's quite menacing. It's nice. What a moment. What a moment. Yeah, drummer doing the damn thing. And another thing I want to commend them on, I mean, if there's anything else, but they're not scared to use effects. And it's not your traditional effects. You know, even the clean piece was clean, but it had a lot of warmth and mid-range to it. It wasn't your acoustic sound, let's say. And it wasn't just a clean sound. There was definitely a tiny bit of natural drive on that. And they've used a lot of fuzz and some phasing. And they've got a lot of different stuff going on to the point where sometimes you're not sure if it's actually a mod of a guitar piece they're playing or if it is a synthy piece in the background. And I think it's quite nice. I think it's experimental. I'd love to know how they come up with the names for the song and the concepts, because there's no lyrics. Not for a second am I saying that because there aren't vocals and lyrics that there isn't a story. There is. But it'd be interesting, is it based off the energy? Is it an idea that of a visual or a memory that they have that they then translate into a particular pace and then they start writing? Very, very interesting. One of the bands I would love to speak to find out how they go about writing songs and how the concept of a thought becomes a physical education. Listen to the drummer switch up here. He's going to go for it. Nice harmonies on that. I love the kind of like ghost note, like, I don't want to say strumming because I'm not sure if it is, but there's these kind of ghost notes, the idea of playing a note or playing a string, but not, the goal is for the actual note to not shine through, but more the sound of the string being played or strings being played. And I like how important they are in a piece like this, because when I spoke earlier about latching onto something, My higher frequency hearing is pretty bad because of all the years on stage and not using in-ears and being an idiot about that. But it's because of that, I'm always on the lookout for them, because I'm always trying to make sure that I'm doing my best to pick up something that I maybe shouldn't be able to hear as well. So I latch onto that first, and then I hear those like those high kind of squeaks of that string being played, and it just makes it so much easier if you have that as a central kind of rhythm piece that you can feel, and then you can latch onto everything else. I love the idea of listening. My brother sent me an article called The Art of Listening, and it's awesome. The human brain is a strange thing. Video was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. Incredible talent, incredible song. I want to say not what I expected, because to be honest, I didn't know what to expect, but when I heard the word physical education, I thought it would be I thought the song would sound a bit more positive. And it's not to say that it sounded negative, I had a different idea in my head, and I'm so glad I was wrong, because that was awesome. They're like scientists with guitars. They have a very technical approach to this. I would love to look at some interviews and see if they've spoken about their songwriting and kind of how they gel together and how they write, because that was really cool. Composition wise, it did have a structure. It wasn't a traditional structure, and it shouldn't be, because there aren't any lyrics or vocals. But there were repeated pieces. There was a intro, which became the outro. There was a bridge type piece in the middle, and then there was a come down, which is essentially in the place of a chorus, where everyone kind of the pace dropped off, and he went into that clean picky, and that was really nice. Wow, what a pleasant song. I have to listen to more. I have to. It's actually quite inspiring. As a guitarist, I am not put off by this at all. I have to say I have a fraction of the ability is an understatement, but it's very inspiring to know what's possible if you dedicate yourself and you fall in love with an instrument and you give that instrument the care it deserves to get to that kind of level. And that's going to take a long time. So please, anyone out there starting out, this is going to take you most of your life to get to, if you ever get there. But the journey's worth it. That was awesome. Can't wait to see the next one. That was super, super cool. Let me know which one's up next. And I trust you guys so far. You've kind of smashed it out the park in terms of recommendations. So if there's a live one or a sound check or something like that, that'd be very cool. But until the next time, please be safe, be nice to each other, and have a damn good day.